everyone, and welcome for my second live talk about film industry and public figures who are related to our film industry. Today I'm going to talk to someone who's actually I was impressed with. When I met her the first time, we did a gig together, which is one of the international brands we worked on. It was hilarious. We got a lot of viewerships, about 10 million viewerships on Facebook, over 3 million viewership on YouTube, and it was kind of like a sketch comedy about one of the international hair brands. And not only she's an actress and a talented actress, but as well she's a workplace happiness coach. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys, when you saw the flyer, you were saying, what happiness has to do with, or got to do with acting? But it has a lot to do with acting. So let's welcome our dear Karine. Karine!
One sec. Here we go.
Hello! Hi! How are you?
How are you, Miral?
I'm good. It's been a long time.
Yeah, let's pretend like we didn't talk half an hour later to set up and everything. Yeah?
I know. You know, the thing is, because we have to prepare all these, getting prepared psychologically and mentally and everything, and technically that's a big thing, and it's taking a lot of time, but this is all for everyone, to be happy about what we're going to talk about. Okay, Karine, I want you to talk a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Very quickly, because I know we have quite a congested or short period of time. And thank you so much, Miral, really, for inviting me for this wonderful talk. And I loved how you made that connection between happiness and acting. And I've been trying to figure out that link, and I think we're going to make that link tonight. UAE. I'm not going to mention my age, even though I have no problem.
You don't have to. You're still young. You're still young. Yeah, age has nothing to do with anything we do.
They might not hire me for jobs, right?
Shush. But anyway, we're gonna break that barrier, huh? Very soon. Very soon.
Absolutely. Very good. Very good. So I'd like to think of myself as many things in one. In one personality test I did, I was officially claimed schizophrenic, but
okay.
But I think it was some kind of Hogan. It was called the Hogan test. Yeah. Okay. So the people who made me do the test, kind of like freaked out. But I think I'm okay. So speaking of multiple personalities, I'd love to think of myself as having many things. I'd like to think of myself as a creative, a communicator, a coach, and a consultant. And right now, so it's all in C, if you notice, Karine C, so I like to make that link too. And so I help businesses kind of create more positive work environments. And that means bringing in whether acting, comedy, serious games, role play, and of course, technology, neurosciences, positive psychology practices, and so forth. And it all depends on the business.
Okay.
So, and if I were to focus just on the creative personality of me, I've been acting since I was 5 years old.
Wow.
So acting,
Wow.
Acting is also in my blood. I mean, my grandmother from my father's side is an actor. She was a stage actress and had her own troupe. And they traveled everywhere in the villages across the north of Lebanon to put on shows that they created. And from my mother's side, my grandmother was a singer. My mother is a painter and an artist as well. And my father also is a musician. So art runs in the family, in my blood. And I think I got a bit of everybody. So,
interesting.
So yeah, that's a bit of background for me.
That's interesting. I mean, it's in the blood and it's still there. And I hope that it's going to go through your grandchildren's and children and grandchildren. Sure. And they'll say, my grandmother, she was this and that. Tell me, how are you coping with the pandemic? So with the situation that we're going on right now?
So I guess people are probably thinking, Karine is a happiness coach, and every time we see her, she's always smiling, my big white teeth, right? But look, I'm I'm like everybody else. I really went through a down period at the beginning of this pandemic and the lockdown. I felt like I had to stop. I had to pause. I had to slow down. I had to really understand what was going on, not only externally with the news and with our issues, but also internally. How am I processing this? What's happening in my body? What kind of physical sensations am I feeling? And what kind of thoughts am I getting? And at some point I felt, damn, this is all going to be digital now. What am I going to do? All my degrees, all my learnings, everything, acting on stage, all of that is going to go. It's all, I kind of like actually made it so big in my mind. I kind of panicked, but I caught myself getting panicky. And then that's where I started to meditate. I started to calm down, breathing exercises. And it's so important, Miral, that you calm yourself down.
Yeah,
it's really
time.
important.
And
breathing helps you do that, calms the nervous system down so you can think clearly to know what to do next.
True.
And in 2-3 weeks' time, I was able to bounce back up. And you know what helped me? Getting a buddy, a passion project buddy who helped me figure out what I want to do. And I helped him figure out what he wanted to do. And that kind of put us in a good space to start thinking outside the box and outside this whole, situation we were in.
I believe this situation we're going on, the whole world is going on. We're all going through this together. And despite of the background that we're coming from, or the place that we're coming from, or where we're residing. But I think some people already went through a lot of depression because of what's going on. And I want to relate this to our industry, which is the most affected, I would say, the entertainment industry. It is one of the biggest industries that got affected by this pandemic. And I think some went well because, the digital world, well, thank God that we live in this time. Imagine if we were like 100 years ago, what happened, and there's no digital and there's no this, advanced technology where you can't see what's going on. You just hear people saying this and that, but nothing is sure. But I want to relate this to our industry, and I want to specify it for actors, especially actors, because let's say, I always say that people who are technical, it is a lot easier for them, yet still it means I do have like directors, I have camera people, friends, I have a lot of editors, whatever. Their jobs cut down, but they still can work from home. But I want to talk about us as actors. You're an actress, I'm an actress. We're not technical people. And this has affected us big time. And I want to see how this can help us to get out of do. As this is how long this is going to take. My whole life is depending on acting. I do acting full-time job. Right. But before we come into this, I'm pretty sure there's a lot that are saying like, why she relating happiness to this? And I think now who's watching us, they are relating to what we're talking about. Happiness is actually related big time to acting or to the film industry. But before that, I want you to define happiness. Is it a way or is it a goal?
Right. Very good question, and scientists still debate about that. And there are many scientific definitions, and there are many now authors coming up with their own formulas and everything. For me, if you want to take it from me, happiness is an umbrella emotion, okay? It is an umbrella emotion made of many other emotions, many other components, okay? Happiness is the sum of many things happening in your body, both biologically and psychologically. some say it's a state of being, but if it's a state of being, that means you're always going to be happy, but that's not humanly possible.
It's not possible, definitely. Like,
there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. Like, when you wake up in the morning, oh, you have to be positive. Look at listen to the chirpings of the birds, look at this. And you have to, I don't believe in that. Like today I was listening to one of the live conversation of someone that I know of. And he said, I didn't like the way he approached it, but he said there's no such thing as positivity. Negativity is actually what pushes you towards your goals. But I know what he meant. He meant something, it's like it gives you, it like triggers you. It like lets you, okay, we have to find solutions. We have to this and that. If you always try to be, I'm happy, I'm this and that, everything is okay, everything is positive, you're always in your comfort zone.
Well, let me clarify that, actually. We have something called a negativity bias, okay, in our brain. And it has been built over many thousands of years as soon as humanity began to exist. And why was that? Because humanity or human beings had to survive. And survival was about finding food to eat so that they don't go hungry and die, okay? And so our brains, or if we go back to the caveman days, their brains were programmed to find and see danger. Because if their brain wasn't wired to see danger, then they would be eaten up or they would be killed by predators or right?
Yeah.
So for many thousands of years, we lived this way. We lived on survival mode. And it's only in the last, you can say, a few decades, and we're talking about maybe hundreds of centuries, as soon as, the Renaissance era came and the Enlightenment age came, a lot of human progress was done. And a lot of richness came into the world. And if you look at something called the world in data, this is a source you can find online, and you can see that overall, from the beginning of time of humanity to now, things have improved. Poverty has reduced, our standards of living has improved, overall healthcare has improved. Now talking pre-COVID-19, of course, and you can see this data. So right now, to live on our negativity bias is not helping us. We cannot, we can no longer stay on survival mode. We need to be on thrival mode. Okay. And again, this was what us happiness experts were talking about before pre-COVID, before COVID-19 and the pandemic outbreak. I know now it's a time to survive. But at the same time, what happens with survival, we tend to access our negative state of mind, our negativity, our negative biases, and then we start to see everything in the world negatively. So it's so important that we're aware of this negativity bias, we take control of it, so that we can relax and calm down, and then really, like I said earlier, think outside of the box. And negativity, and as you rightfully said, you can use it to do something about it. To eradicate it. So when you take action because of your negativity, it's in fact you going and leading your life to positivity. You want to reach a positive outcome. This is why you're taking an action as a result of your anger, as a result of your anxiety, as a result of your fears, right? Okay. But what tends to happen with people, they don't take action. They allow their fears to eat them up. And this is where depression kicks in. This is where you have a hormonal imbalance in your brain. And of course, if you keep wiring your brain in that direction, that will definitely lead to very bad consequences like suicide, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's what I wanted to say. So, one more thing on being positive, by the way. Being positive is actually a positive psychology practice. You must practice being positive to be able to get out of this negative. We're so programmed that we need to do it.
But that's the trick over here. When you're talking about we need to practice to be positive, I personally don't believe like, oh, I have to repeat the word and I say, okay, I'm happy today, I'm doing well today, everything is fine today. But actually, like, I'm in, and let's say, deep trouble. I'm in a lot of challenges going on in my life, I think it's a little difficult for me, and I believe there's a lot of people like me, to sit down and say, okay, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be. Of course, I learned later on how to practice and how to actually
play it.
Yeah, but how can you do words? There's a lot of powers in the words that you're using. But how can you convince yourself deep inside that this is happening, that this is going to be fine, you're going to go through this, you're going to be fine, and everything's going to be okay. But I want to relate this to acting, how this is going to affect us as actors in terms of our performance, in terms of, let's say, you're an actress.
Opportunity.
Sometimes we go through a lot of disappointments. You go for this casting, you don't get the role. I went through it myself, and I went to a lot of casting roles, and this is where I thought, okay, I nailed it. I'm gonna get that role, and then all of a sudden, I realized someone else got the role, and I do have this anger inside me that I know I nailed it, and I know that I was more experienced than that person. That you go through a lot of, and actors do go a lot of disappointments, rejection, and sometimes they give up on acting. They just, let me get a job from 9 to 5. That's it. I need to get a stable income. How can we relate this? How can we train actors to overcome this disappointment or these pain? How can we do that? How can we relate happiness to acting?
With me, let me share a very small experience I've had now during lockdown. So while I was in my down period, and I'm thinking, oh my God, where do I begin? I need to learn new digital skills. Maybe I need to take a digital marketing class, or, all of a sudden I get a message from someone saying, please come, we need to see you. We want to cast you for a TV presenting role. And in my mind, I said, oh my God, that's right. Everything's moving online, even entertainment. Why is Netflix so successful? Right? Why is the OTT industry taking over TV now? Right? Because, and it's true, what we have on Netflix is all the movies that were done pre-COVID-19. Yes, when people were not social distancing. I get it. But when I went for that casting, it was also in a studio, and it was to basically present, be a presenter and cover the news about. And that's fine. But you know what? When I got that call, it immediately, I realized that there is a lot of opportunity for us online now. And there are so many platforms out there, like The Junction, for example, that are doing live performances online. And I know it's not the same as it is on stage. As we,
I don't have Corona, guys. I don't have Corona. Sorry. To cut you.
So people are becoming creative. People are thinking of ideas. Everything is in video. We're all trying our best to realize our skills and see what we can do with the limitations we have. And by the way, creativity really does come out of limitation. Now, going back to how can actors be more mindful and be more at peace with the situation. It's, how it is before a performance, we always have to do a meditation. I don't know about you, but every time before a performance, or before we go live on TV, or before we go live on stage, or before we shoot a scene, there's something that we do between us and us, right? And this connection with the divine, this inner dialogue that we go through an inner type of meditation. So we do it unconsciously, and some of us consciously. Now, if we want to ensure that our happiness is not stolen, that our anxiety doesn't take over, we need to be conscious more about this. meditation, and making time for meditation on a daily basis is very important. And if it's not meditation, just breathing for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is. So just to get centered. And social, just one more thing, Miral, when you said about, how did this person get the role and I didn't? Again, comparison is the thief of joy. This is a very famous,
That's right.
teaching.
I learned with time to let go, of course, because it was killing me, Yeah.
We've been doing this for how many years, Miral?
Yeah.
Are we celebrities?
No, not yet.
We're not. We're still in the definition of celebrities, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true. The thing is, when you're talking about meditating, I try to meditate, and I'll be honest about it. I mean, I used to meditate a lot in the past, let's say about 4 or 5 years now, to get back to meditating, and it's so hard for me. I'm sorry, that's my cat. It's annoying.
That's okay. I'll probably get my sister walking in any minute.
It's like the CNN. I think it was a BBC, or it was BBC.
Yeah,
when that little kid came and he's talking. The mom, she has to crawl.
But back then it was unaccepted. It was like,
now
whoa,
it's
what
cool.
the hell? But right now it's fine.
See, this is how you break, the ice. This is how you come up with things. It's like it's unaccepted, and then it's becoming acceptable. Anyway,
Exactly.
so it was very hard for me to meditate. Like, I try to sit in the morning and meditate. Of course, my cats don't let me, because once they see me, this is one of the things I wanted to ask you. When I do, cat sense when you try to meditate? Because as soon as, like, they're I'm in my room, they're in the living room, and then all of a sudden when I meditate, I see them, they come over and they just want to caress my hands, because when you meditate, you put your hands on your knee,
Yeah.
and it's unbelievable. But it's so hard for me to meditate, and especially when I go for my when I have an acting gig that I need to do, and I have to go, I get a lot of anxiety, and I get a lot of I get nervous, and I get I always have in my mind, like, oh my God, I'm gonna forget my lines. I'm gonna screw this up. I'm gonna,
Okay.
So it's so hard.
If a best friend were with you, if your best friend were with you and saw you do this, what would she tell you?
That's normal. My best friend, she said, you can do this. You're strong enough. Chill. It's fine.
Okay.
It's gonna be okay.
That's it.
But it's always like this. Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, we underestimate the impact it has on us. Yes, we probably hear it all the time, but we underestimate it. If we just give it just that moment of hearing your best friend tell you, "You're great, you got this," and you know what? I give you permission to F up. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is, we are not our own best friends.
That's true. That's true.
So, and this is where happiness comes in. Happiness aren't people around you to calm you down and to pep talk you into getting back into your zone and centering yourself again. This is where the happiness practices come in to help you be your own best friend and tell you, you know what, you got this. You've done this so many times. You have failed and you have also succeeded so many times. How many times were you in a point in your life where you weren't doing, when you thought you weren't going to do well, but you actually did well? And by the way, this is a scientific phenomenon. Also, we studied in the science of happiness. I forgot the terminology already because it's been a while, but we tend to predict negative outcomes more negative than they are, and we tend to predict positive outcomes more positive than they are. For example, a wedding, we'd be like, oh, our wedding, it's going to be the best thing in the world, and then you come to the wedding and you're like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
Or let's say, for example, you had a breakup, you broke up with your with your partner, and oh my God, life is going to be devastating. But then a few months down the line, you come back again, or somebody comes back again and asks you the question, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm actually okay. And these are all studies that were done in labs, by the way. So we have to be aware of these things that we tend to do to ourselves.
So what we're saying is that we need to practice a lot. We need to do a lot of research. We need to read. We need to try to, no matter how much we fail, no matter what, think about the past, think about the things that you went through, the hard time, and look at where you reached so far, and that will calm you down.
And number two, on top of what you just said, I would recommend a very simple exercise called 3 good things.
Okay.
Okay. And every time you're in this situation, just get a piece of paper and pen and just write down 3 good things, not just about you. It could be about you, but this exercise is really about just picking 3 good things that happened to you in the day.
Yeah, I heard about this exercise a lot. It helps a lot. That's what I heard.
Yeah,
right. That's true.
From a small thing to a large thing. Could be like, you know, today I put my hand in my pocket and I found a 5 dirham bill. That made my day, you know? So it could be as simple as that. And in no time, the more you do this, you will start rewiring your neural pathways, you know, to beautiful and more peaceful places in your brain. And of course, get out of the negativity faster.
I believe what all you're saying is because I went through this. I did my own research, and through my career, acting career, when I look back where I started, you know, by producers, by directors, and one of my good friends, because you know, I have one of my projects which is on TV now. And I was surprisingly, he sent me something and he said, "You're doing good. You're doing well."
You are, Miral. Smallah. You know, all these different cultural things of eradicating the evil eye. But no, really, and if anybody is watching from my side of the screen or my Insta Live, please check out Miral's work and on her Instagram page.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent actress. Truly, Miral.
Habibti,
I look up to you.
Habibti, thank you so much. Let's talk about I think we're running a little out of time, but we still have a little, like about 10 to 15 minutes. We can give that.
Okay.
I remember when we were discussing about actors posting a lot about, I would say, false news about their credentials. Like they embellish their credentials. Will that... I mean, one of the expertise told me I don't think it affects them a lot when they come for casting. But that's, I think we're talking about professional-wise. But I want to talk about as a human being. When you embellish your credentials, in terms of the way that you publish your pictures, in terms of the way you publish about the news that you've done this gig, but actually you've done a very small part, and then the time you go for casting, you're not actually looking the same as the one in the picture, or not. You haven't done any great acting gigs, which is not wrong. I don't see that it's wrong at all. We all started somewhere. We all started small. But I meant those embellish their credentials. And then all of a sudden, I would say, does that affect them from deep inside as a human being? You know, because once you go for casting, will you be confident enough? Because you know whatever you posted is just a lie. Yeah. So how this will affect their happiness? I think I've seen a lot of them. They get depressed. They have this resentments towards others, you know, who are successful, who are taking great, and this happened to me actually, to be honest. Like a lot of people, you know, got that role, and then I had to learn with time, this is just meant for, it's a destiny. But then I understand it's because of hard work. It's because the truth, you have to be truthful to yourself before you know, you're exposing about your work, or I think you're exploiting your work, you know, to others, that this is not the truth about you. So how will this affect you as a human being and then as an actor?
Right. So, you know, this is now it's a very deep issue actually. And I say deep because it goes back to our belief systems about ourselves. So if someone is really embellishing here and there and everywhere, it means they are trying to add layers to something they're ashamed of, or they want to cover up, or that they believe they don't have. Okay? So there is a very deep sense or belief that they are not good enough, and that they are not worthy enough. And when we have that deep sense of belief about ourselves, we tend to do crazy things like this. And we tend to become also overconfident about it. We start to believe it, you know? And when overconfidence kicks in and it goes to a level that's no longer manageable, that's when we become unethical. And we start doing things unethically, like lying, like cheating, you know, and so forth. And again, according to science, science has proven that ethical people tend to be happier, tend to be healthier, tend to have a better connection with themselves and with the divine if they have, you know, if they follow a certain faith. So they even say people who are religious are generally happier. And that's because ethics and faith provide meaning, provide purpose. And when you are not aligned with your own meaning and why you are here and why you do what you do, you will get lost. You will be unethical, you will be immoral, and you will do all these crazy things that will at the end lead to your own sickness. And you know, and when I say sickness, not only physical, but mental also.
But we've seen a lot of mega stars who actually committed suicide, but they were like successful and they were making a lot of people entertained and happy, but they were not, and they committed suicide. And this is where, why, although when you see from the outside, you say almost they're successful, they have everything, almost everything, they're there,
there you go.
Why do they, is there something that they're lying about, or they're lying to themselves? That's why they got into depression?
So this is a very general question to answer, because every actor or every celebrity has their own issues and their own situations going on in their lives. So it's not in my position to really say what's really happening. But what I can say is that, firstly, you point on a very important factor, that material things eventually don't bring happiness. So yes, money and fame do bring happiness, and we're talking in this umbrella emotion that doesn't last for long, right? And this is it. And again, and I'm going to always link the science of happiness to this, because it is providing your foundational standards of living. Let's put it that way.
Right.
It's providing the basic needs of your life, you know, where you're able to afford to buy food, you're able to afford to buy medicine if you get sick, you know, you're able to pay for courses here and there to get better as a human being, you know, but up to a certain point. And that certain point on a global level is, on an annual basis, $75,000 a year. That's all you need a year on a global level. I'm not talking Middle East, because Middle East is a bit higher.
That's a bit higher, yes.
Yeah, it's about $120,000. You need to be making $120,000 a year to be happy. But if you go beyond that, your happiness actually plateaus.
Okay.
It doesn't add or subtract. It actually, eventually you will feel that things are not enough for you. Again, we're back to this is not enough. Not enough. I'm not good enough. This is not enough. And I forgot who I watched a talk on, but he's a billionaire himself, and he made research on other billionaires, and he saw that those who had the amazing villa wanted the private jet. Those who had the private jet wanted the private jet with 14 seaters. Those with the private jet with the 14 seaters
a yacht or
So it's this, I think it's the condition we're in. It's the condition of humanity. And that's because we don't practice happiness. And maybe happiness is the wrong word. There are so many things you can practice to be happy, like empathy, like being kind, like being generous, like being compassionate, like wishing well for your successful actors, being happy for them if they get the role, be actually happy for them. Because, by the way, that will come back to you. This energy.
That's right. That's right. Big time. That's
to others who are succeeding. And always remember, everyone is on his or her own path. We were put because we each have a personalized learning journey. We're not the same. We're all unique and different. And that's what actors need to understand. We all bring our own unique individuality, our own unique talents, our own unique gifts. And the more we learn and the more we come in with a beginner's mindset and finding your purpose, you will end up being in the right place where you excel the most. We just have to surrender and let it be and just go with the flow of life.
And good intentions, that's what's important. Like, whatever, anything you do, you need to have good intentions and wish good luck for others. And it is actually a big thing in the film industry, to be honest, because the competition is very, very high. And you find a lot of resentment and hatred, and people try to and it's part of the reality. We need to bring it up. Like, some of them, they tell me, oh, you're not supposed to talk about it, you're not supposed to say it. Huh?
That's the thing, Miral. We made it a reality.
Yes.
We created this crazy reality, this normalcy, and this normalcy has to end. So it's like what we're going through today. COVID-19 came to change what normalcy is, because the normalcy we had was unacceptable. And now it's time, instead of competing, we need to cooperate. We need to collaborate. And again, according to science, many lab studies have been done about this, where cooperation brings more happiness. And I'll give you a small example. They put two teams of school students playing basketball. They asked one group that are competing with each other to compete, and to, one of them has to win. Okay? And then the other group, they've asked them to cooperate and try to encourage each other and kind of together win the game. And then when the game started and they came back, the scientists and researchers came back and asked them, so where did you feel happiest? They checked their levels of happiness, and they found those who cooperated and collaborated, to play the game, actually were much happier than those. And I think by 60% higher. So this is what human beings don't understand. And the acting industry has to
enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey.
And collaborate with others. And I think, Miral, you are doing a lot of collaborative work. The fact that you brought me and interviewed me, that is a sign of collaboration. That is already an act of collaboration, not a sign, an act of collaboration. And, and me telling my audience to go and watch you is also an act of collaboration. And we must do that for each other, especially in this industry where we're very low paid. We're not, they don't come back to us and tell us why we didn't get the role or whatever. They completely ignore us. Sometimes we're not paid on time, we're not paid even at all, so
that's another story that I need to talk about. I'm going to talk about my next to one of casting directors as well, about the roles, because since we don't have a union here, but that's a whole different thing, and definitely you'll see it soon. Okay,
leave it to the experts. Who want to make a change.
Well, let's hope. Like, we need to make it happen. If it's like a lot of people, they say this is, you're not supposed to talk, you're not supposed to. It's like, no, we have to talk about it. It's actors are suffering. Actors are suffering. They don't get paid. And this is where where they get depressed. This is where they're not happy. That's part of happiness as well.
Not everyone can be a coder. Not everyone can be an engineer or a doctor. Life is also about the arts. And I hope one day we can reach or the world can reach a point where artists, are paid, are respected. And I'm sure there are so many of them, those who have become celebrity artists.
This is where it's so
again,
difficult
who is actually judging them as celebrities, and who is, what about up and coming actors who have talent?
Yeah.
What about those people, who are really genuine, who have skills, who really want to give, from them.
True. Now let's conclude this one, the whole interview. I think it was really useful, and I think it's more broad than what we spoke about. There's more and more to talk about.
A lot, yeah, absolutely.
But it's unfortunate, I think everybody started to get bored in a way, and it's understandable. It's understandable.
I'll dance for you.
So tell me, what are your plans to make for the future, in the near future?
Look, Mirada,
after this is over, this pandemic is over.
Okay. I will definitely continue acting, even though some family members don't support it because they think it's quite stressful. Of course, learning your lines and getting ready and prepped up for a gig, it is stressful. And, I don't know why we do it, but we do it for the love of it. And I will definitely continue doing it, even if I have to get a full-time job.
Yeah.
Even if I have to, be a consultant. For me, what's important, I think the message I'd love to give everybody out there, Miral, is that, we can't pigeonhole ourselves in one place.
That's right.
We have
so
many skills. End with this Bhutanese quote. The Bhutanese believe in this, and they say, if you really want to be truly happy, you must remind yourself 3 times a day that you're going to die.
Oh my God. That is so negative.
No, it's not. On the contrary, if we're aware of our own morality and we know that we have a limited time, why not explore ourselves to the maximum? I mean, it's how you take it again. If you want to stimulate the negativity bias in your brain, okay. But I want to take it in another direction.
How I tell to myself, I say, Miral, you're still young. You still have it's a great future up in front of you. Do what you gotta do. Don't give up. Although I do go through a lot of phases, depression and anxiety and disappointments.
But honestly, that's what got me through in life. Reminding myself of my limited time on this planet, and also reminding myself of my loved ones, my best friends, my mom, my dad, that they, my sister, my brother, whatever, they're not going to be there for long. Even you, Miralo.
Yeah,
and so I trained myself.
That's true.
I trained myself that when I'm with someone, I want to give them my full attention, because who knows, maybe this could be the last time. And I don't want to go back and regret and say, oh my God, I never got to say I love you or hug you. And I hope we will hug very soon after all of this is over. So I think it's good training for the brain. And I think the Bhutanese have a big point here.
That's true. Karine, I think it was a productive interview. I really like the tips and advices that you input. And I think we all have to enjoy the journey, whether we're going to be in Hollywood or not, whether we're going to be actors for the rest of our lives or not, in the Arab world, in abroad. Just enjoy the journey. And I believe that you need to explore other skills, not just focusing on acting, in order for you, to keep on, because life is still here it's a different case that you need to, as you said, trying to find a job that at least pays off your expenses, your fixed expenses, and then you can do on the side acting, and then you'll never know when it's going to hit, when it's going to be your breakthrough. Karine, thank you so much, and hope I'll see you soon. And it was a great pleasure. The wave. Okay, Houti, thank you so much. Good night, and thank you all for joining us. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Bye.